I've been training since I was 13. I started off at my garage at home. It wasn't even a proper home gym yet. It was just a lat pull down machine with an attachable bench press mechanism. I remember it had a leg extension and a leg curl attachment too. And my dad got me some dumbbells from August when I started showing interest in training. I was old enough to lift now. Around 1 year later, the gym was upgraded. My dad got a proper bench press station, heavier dumbbells and barbells as well. I was over the moon. I thought I was training at Gold's Gym. I trained there every day for years, from 13 years old to around 15 and 16 regularly. And then on and off when I became 17 and I started going to college. I wish I had some physique pictures from then, man. I was training every day and eating what I thought was clean, but I was actually just skinny. Because I was low body fat and been training, I did have visible abs and separation in my chest and shoulders and back. But anyone who's lean already has that to an extent. Someone who has been training for 3 or 4 years should have a lot more size and muscle to their frame. But I thought, you know what, it's probably puberty. Wrong. I had this issue of putting on muscle all the way until I was 21 years old. 7, maybe even 8 years after I started training. In this video, I'll tell you about what changes I made to my training and diet, and also what things to avoid and what things to do in order to put on the muscle, especially if you're a brown guy. Now, the first thing which I would recommend, and something I regret not doing a bit earlier, was start training for aesthetics. When I started training, I had literally no routine. So when my pops got me them dumbbells from August, I started just doing random things. Obviously, at the time, I had watched a lot of fitness YouTubers, and not to mention they probably were on steroids at the time, but I just started trying to copy them. But I had no routine. So I'd watch one video of, see, they did a shoulder routine, then they would do like a chest day, leg day, back day and whatnot. So what I would do is every day after mosque, so around 7-8 o'clock, I would go to my garage gym, and I had this routine of I would start working out from the top of my body. So I started training my traps, my shoulders, my chest, and I would do one exercise for each thing. And looking back on it, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But in that time, obviously, because you don't really know better and no one's there to advise you properly, I just did that for ages, for a while. And then eventually, obviously, I got more knowledge. And then 2021, when I was when I was that age, I thought, let me start training properly. Let me start training for aesthetics. Let me make this change. Of course, I've got this big base of knowledge. So I basically made the change from training for strength and useless things really to training for aesthetics, to actually look good, train like you actually want to look better, if that makes sense. And I was doing cardio first as well, which is not very good, because you want to preserve your energy and keep your strength for lifting the weights, and then at the end you would do your cardio. Or even after, if you have a treadmill at home or whatever, you could do your cardio whenever you want. Make that change from lifting for strength and lifting for numbers, because this was happening to me. I would think to myself, you know what, I could bench press a lot of weight, but if I took my top off, my chest was soft, my body was fat. I thought, what is the point in lifting heavy weight if I look like shit? That makes sense. So make that change, and that's what I did as well. And coincidentally, I made a lot more muscle as well when I started training for aesthetics. When I'm talking about training the muscles for aesthetics and whatnot, I'll tell you about the muscles you need to make your program around. Base your training around these muscles. So the muscles that actually make you look good are your side delts, your upper chest, your traps and your neck, your upper lats for that V-taper, and your abs. And I would say your biceps as well. A lot of people have this, I won't say misconception, but they try and get big arms by just having a big fat tricep. And of course, having big triceps are good. I'm not saying, neglect certain muscles. Make sure you still have a good rounded program, but I would say focus on these muscles specifically. But if you have big arms, and the reason you have the big arms is because your biceps are massive, you have big bulging biceps, right? Then it'll just make a massive difference to how your body and physique looks. So make the change and stop prioritizing the muscles. The next thing I did was I started eating a lot more protein, way more protein than I used to consume. So I actually got this from a podcast which Andrew Huberman did with, I can't remember his name, but the guy said 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight is enough. But just for insurance, I would say 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Or you can either do 1 gram of protein per centimeter in height. So if you weigh, for example, let's just say you weigh 200 pounds, then aim for around 200 grams of protein. And if you weigh 180 centimeters in height, then aim for 180 grams of centimeters in height. Now, because I didn't do this, and I wasn't doing this, I would always hear it, you need to get protein in and all that. I didn't really let it absorb my body because I just simply was not eating enough protein, albeit I was a bit younger at the time. But now I consciously try and get more protein in. And the thing is, when you get a lot of protein in, you don't feel hungry. You don't feel hungry because protein is very satiating. It's a very satiating macronutrient. And because I didn't consume the right amount of protein, I lost a lot of potential muscle, which I could have built, a lot of potential size. And the body simply cannot create muscle without the right building blocks. So make sure you consume a lot more protein than you're consuming. Use what I've told you right now, the formula I've given you. Next thing which I did, and which you need to start doing, especially if you're brown as well, is stop consuming seed oils. And now there's loads and loads of research about seed oils. I made a bunch of videos on seed oils. I feel like I'm talking about seed oils all the time. But the simple way to put seed oils and what they do to you is they simply nerf you. If you know what nerf means, they basically downgrade you. They basically keep you fat. They keep you looking soft. They keep you looking unaesthetic. They make your skin worse. They make your body inflamed. They're not good for human consumption. They weren't meant for human consumption in the first place. The simple change to make from seed oils is start consuming ghee, start consuming butter, start consuming olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, any kind of beef fat, beef tallow. Cook your food in the things which I've just mentioned rather than, seed oils. Seed oils, examples of seed oils is sunflower oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, safflower oil, soybean oil, rapeseed oil. There's a bunch more which I can't really remember at the moment, but there's just loads of seed oils, and don't consume that because they will 100% affect how much muscle you're putting on, how you look, how your hormones, how your hormones are. It'll just make a massive impact on how you look and how you feel. And you don't want seed oils to be in your body because they take around 2 years to pass through, and they ruin your joints, they ruin your ligaments. It's basically poison. Don't consume seed oils. Now, the next thing I did, and this was more of a mindset shift, was I started using cardio as a tool. Use cardio as a tool. Now, if you train like a marathon runner, your body will start to look like one. And have you ever seen a marathon runner, how they look? They look all skinny, all sucked up. Their arms are skinny, their legs are skinny. They don't have any hair because their cortisol is very high because of all the running they're doing, all the stress they're putting on their body. You need to, what I do and what I would always recommend and push, and what I teach, is doing zone 2 cardio pretty much every single day, and maybe once or twice do some kind of high intensity thing. So I would always recommend, I would always recommend, but I prefer to do sprinting. Or even, the assault air bikes, if you know what one of them are, if your gym has that. Do that once or twice a week, paired with zone 2. What zone 2 is a way to describe how hard your heart is working. So zone 2 it's very low intensity. It's an example would be a best way to describe it. So let's just say you're walking on a treadmill at around 2.5 miles an hour and you're at a slight incline. So your heart is still, you're still doing some kind of exercise, but you can still hold a conversation. So something else would be like rock climbing, cycling at a decent pace, not an incline. Something which you can do every single day and which is very repeatable, something which doesn't really put much stress on your body. I would always recommend walking on a bit of an incline, and then every now and then, every week, every maybe a couple of times a week, I would do some kind of sprinting. And the way the zone 2 works is it's in fat burning mode and it's very repeatable. You can do it for ages. You can literally get a walking pad like I have over there and walk for maybe even an hour, and you can watch your favorite show. You can be doing some work on your desk. It's very easy. So I started using cardio as a tool. Don't be running loads and loads because you will feel a bit flat. Your joints will hurt, and the possibility of getting an injury or even being too sore to even go to the gym and even miss a day of actually hitting the weights is quite high. So I would always say stick to zone 2 cardio and sprinting. That will get you lean and aesthetic. Pair that with everything else I've said in this video. Start training to look good. start focusing on obviously the muscles that you need to train, which I've said. Start consuming a lot more protein. Stop consuming seed oils. As long as you do all of that, you will put on muscle regardless of whatever ethnicity you are, even if you're brown, because brown people, they're already a little bit nerfed from the beginning. Now, if you want a more in-depth framework of exactly how I eat, how I train and recover, then join my free school community. The link will be in the description below, the first one. Click on that. Thank you.